anyone thinking about getting lithium batteries in your boat, hopefully this will help you make a decision about that. What's going on, everybody? My name's Brian. You're watching Angling Anarchy, and I am talking about lithium batteries in the boat, specifically to run locators, and if you have it live scope, because we know that is a big draw on batteries, and of course trolling motors up front there, whether it be 12, 24, or 36 volt. So I made the change to lithiums. Actually, I did it in two steps. First of all, I got a 12 volt 100 amp hour battery so that I could run my locators off of it, because every time I would start up my big engine, because the power was being taken from the starting battery, when I would go turn over my 115 horse Suzuki, one or both of my Humminbird Helix 12s would shut off on me. So I wanted to address that problem, as well as just taking everything off of the lead acid starting battery so that it became just that, a starting battery. That way it acts more like what you'd have in your vehicle. I don't want to have to worry about having a charger specifically for the lead acid battery. And by taking everything off of it and just using it as a starting battery, so that when you start the engine up, you run it a little bit, it charges it back up. Honestly, I never had to put a charge on it last year. You can, put a maintenance charge on it every now and again, but I wanted to remove the onboard charger I had for that and clean up some of the space in my boat. So with that, I got the 12 volt 100 amp hour from LiTime on the recommendation of my friend Nathan. I purchased that one, installed it, and was really, really pleased with how it performed. My favorite thing about it, quite honestly, is having the Bluetooth capabilities so that I can see exactly where that battery is, and it will tell me exactly how much time I have left. And I'll actually give a demonstration of that a little bit later here. I have 3 Helix 12s now, a Gen 4 and 2 Gen 1s. So we'll fire all those up and take a look at the phone and see what kind of draw we have, just so you can have an idea of what kind of power it takes. After that, I was very impressed with it, and I wanted to switch over my 24 volt Minn Kota Tarova to lithium, because I had heard that you get more power out of it. It's a little bit cleaner power, and I was not disappointed one bit. I ended up going with their dedicated 24 volt battery, and I think either way you do it, there's really not a way that you can go wrong. Whether you take two 12 volt 100 amp hour batteries and put them in series, and if you have a 36, 3 12 volt batteries, I don't think there's a way to go wrong. Potentially, if you have multiple 12 volt batteries and one of them does go down on you, you can just replace it as opposed to replacing an entire 24 or 36 volt battery. That is a choice that I will leave up to you, but LiTime does make dedicated 24 volt and 36 volt chargers. In fact, the one I have is their waterproof onboard charger that has 2 banks, 10 amps each. One is specifically for charging the 12 volt battery, and one is specifically for the 24 volt battery. So I have 3 batteries in my boat, a 24, a 12, both lithium, both 100 amp hour, and then I have my starting battery lead acid, because they do make lithium starting batteries, but I was told by my manufacturer that because it is a stator and not an alternator, that a lithium would not be a good idea. So always check with the manufacturer of the engine, the size of the engine. It will make a difference on whether or not you can switch over to lithium. Big takeaways for me with that 24 volt on the Tarova was, yes, the runtime was amazing. Yes, I did get more high-end power out of it. I think if I was running the boat with 2 12 volt lead acids in series, I could maybe get 2.2 miles an hour if I turned it all the way up to 10 on a calm day. I can get almost 3 miles an hour. So the top end power is definitely more. Now that could be because I lost about 100 pounds of battery weight in the boat, but I honestly think it's just more consistent power. I also noticed that the breaker would not pop even after prolonged time running at all the way up at 10. Now, it's probably not the best thing to do that, but if you're in a little bit of a pinch and you need to throw it on 9 or 10 to get out of it, you probably don't want it to pop the breaker on you. And I ran this thing for about 10 minutes straight and it did not pop the breaker. I don't know whether that is because the power is cleaner or whatever term you want to use over the lead acids, but all I know is it was amazing the way that it worked with my Tarova. So nothing but impressed. And I think LiTime probably has one of the better batteries out there. I did purchase the 12 volt 100 amp hour. I reached out to them and they were nice enough to hook me up with the 24 volt and the charger for them. So I want to thank them for that very, very much. So I will leave a link down below that you can check out LiTime Batteries, and I've got a little 8% discount code that you can use if you decide to go with the LiTime batteries. All right, we have the LiTime app open. You can see the 12 volt battery up there, the 24 right there. I do store them between 20 and 80% when not in use. That is the recommended way to store these. You don't want to charge them all the way up and let them sit. So typically what I do, take the boat out, have them charged all the way up, use the boat for the day, get everything down below 80 hopefully, and just leave it sit if you're not going to use it for a week or two. And then before you go out the next time, charge them up. So you just have to get out of that cycle of bringing the boat home, charging it up that most people are used to with lead acid. So something to consider. But I will take a look at what we've got going on here, because we've got all 3 locators on, as you can see, and I've got them on the settings that I would typically use. And you can see it's bumping between 4.6 and 6.4 amps, and I'm sure that's because of the side imaging that you can hear clicking away. It'll tick, 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 and then go into its regular noise that you can hear there, and that's where the 6.4 amps of current is. So that's typically what you're going to be seeing out in the boat. So 3 really big screens. This gives you an idea with a 76% charge. I've got about 13 hours of use. The nice part about this is when you're charging the batteries up, it will tell you how soon they will be charged up. So again, this Bluetooth feature is awesome to have, and it's one of my favorite things to have on these batteries. All right, so a real quick look around the boat. I've got my 12 volt 100 amp hour that is connected to all 3 screens. Up front here we've got the Minn Kota 24 volt 80 pound thrust trolling motor, and this is where I've got the 24 volt battery. It takes up this much space. That's how big this battery is. It's a little bit wider than a typical battery is. For the installation of this, I actually have that in a previous video, so I will link that up top so you can see that. And tucked in down there, you can see the dual bank battery charger from LiTime that I have powering both of these. So yeah, 24 volt there, 12 there, and then of course for the Suzuki, we've got just a plain old lead acid right there, and that's all it does, starts the motor. So no charger needed for that sucker anymore. Now, one more thing to consider that wasn't really an option when I got my 12 volt are these new 16 volt batteries that they have just for electronics. If you look at the specs for the major players out there, Garmin, Humminbird, Lowrance, all of them have a maximum voltage of 17 or more, which means you can use a 16 volt battery, and people do say that they get a clearer picture, stronger signal, that sort of thing. It is 20% more efficient at delivering power to those, so that is an option to look at. I don't know a ton about it, but I will leave a link for LiTime down there, and you can do a little bit of research and take a look at that. I know I've got some friends that are going to switch over to the 16 volt batteries. All right, well, that's what I've got. Just a quick rundown. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments down below. I will do my best to answer them. And with that, I appreciate every single one of you watching this mess, and I'll see you on the next video.